What if I told you that the probability of Earth existing exactly as it does is so impossibly small that mathematicians call it statistically zero? What if every breath you're taking right now, every sunset you've ever witnessed, every raindrop that's ever fallen, what if all of it points to something that will completely shatter how you see reality? Here's what will blow your mind in the next 3 hours. We're going to discover that Earth isn't just rare. It's so perfectly calibrated for life that the odds are literally astronomical. And I mean that in the most terrifying, wonderful way possible. By the end of this journey, you'll never look at a flower the same way again. You'll never see the moon without getting chills. And you might just realize that you're part of the most incredible story ever told. But first, let me hit you with a number that should keep you awake at night. 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 123. That's the odds against our universe existing with the exact physical constants needed for matter to form. To put that in perspective, there are only 10 to the 80th atoms in the observable universe. The number of ways our universe could have been lifeless is so large that it doesn't even fit in our universe. And yet, here you are, watching this video, thinking these thoughts. Don't go anywhere, because we're about to dive into the most mind-bending rabbit hole you've ever encountered. Think of it like this. Imagine you're blindfolded and throwing a dart at a target, size of an atom, from the distance of the moon, while the target is moving at the speed of light. Now do that successfully for every single physical constant in the universe, simultaneously. That's what had to happen for Earth to exist. But let's start with something simpler that will make your head spin. The distance between Earth and the young Sun. We call it the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Move us 5% closer to the Sun, and we become Venus, a hellish world where lead melts on the surface. Move us 1% farther away, and we freeze into a Mars-like wasteland. But here's where it gets weird. That perfect distance? It's not just about temperature. Dr. James Casting, a planetary scientist at Penn State University, discovered in 1993 that our orbit does something impossible. It's not just circular enough to maintain stable temperatures. It's so precisely circular that it varies by less than 2% throughout the year. Most planets have wildly elliptical orbits that would create massive temperature swings. But not Earth. What if I told you that Jupiter is positioned at exactly the right distance to act as our cosmic bodyguard? In 1994, astronomers Eugene and Carolyn Shoemaker watched in real time as Jupiter's gravity captured comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 and tore it apart before it could reach the inner solar system. Without Jupiter's massive gravitational field positioned precisely where it is, Earth would be bombarded by comets and asteroids every few thousand years. Complex life would never have had time to evolve. But wait, it gets stranger. Our moon is exactly the right size and distance to create perfect solar eclipses. Think of it like this. The sun is 400 times larger than the moon, but it's also exactly 400 times farther away. This creates a phenomenon that exists nowhere else in our solar system. Total solar eclipses, where the moon perfectly covers the sun's disk. Coincidence? The mathematical probability of this happening by chance is less than 1 in several billion. And here's something that will make you question everything. The moon is slowly moving away from Earth at exactly the rate that keeps our planet stable. Too close, and the tidal forces would tear our planet apart. Too far, and our axis would wobble chaotically, creating climate extremes that would make life impossible. Dr. Jacques Lasker at the Paris Observatory calculated in 1993 that without the moon, Earth's axial tilt would vary between 0 and 85 degrees. Over periods of millions of years, we'd have ice ages lasting millions of years, followed by periods where the poles were hotter than today's equator. But the moon does more than stabilize our axis. It creates tides that may have been essential for life to transition from sea to land. The gravitational pull creates tidal pools, natural laboratories, where organic compounds could concentrate and interact in ways impossible in the open ocean. Think about this. Every single one of these factors had to be perfect simultaneously. The distance from the Sun, the circular orbit, Jupiter's position, the Moon's size and distance, our axial tilt. If any single one was even slightly different, you wouldn't be here watching this video. And we're just getting started. Because what we've covered so far, it's nothing compared to what's coming next. Stay with me, because we're about to discover why the very atoms in your body shouldn't exist. Here's what will blow your mind. The carbon in your body was forged in the heart of a dying star through a process so unlikely that the scientist who discovered it won a Nobel Prize for proving it should be impossible. In 1953, Fred Hoyle was trying to solve a cosmic puzzle. Stars confuse hydrogen into helium and helium into beryllium. But beryllium-8 is incredibly unstable. It falls apart in just 10 to 16 seconds. For carbon to form, 3 helium nuclei have to collide simultaneously in that impossibly brief moment. The odds against this happening? Astronomical, but Hoyle realized something incredible. If carbon exists, and we know it does because we're made of it, then there must be something else going on. He predicted that carbon-12 must have a very specific energy level that allows this triple alpha process to work. When scientists tested his prediction in 1957, they found exactly what he predicted: a resonance level at 7.65 megaelectron volts. Here's the mind-blowing part. If that energy level was just 4% higher or 1% lower, carbon couldn't form in stars. No carbon means no organic chemistry. No organic chemistry means no life. No life means no you. Hoyle himself said this discovery converted him from atheism because he couldn't believe such precise fine-tuning could be accidental. He famously wrote, "A common-sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a superintellect has monkeyed with physics. But carbon is just the beginning." Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to build a house, but you can only use materials that form under very specific conditions. The hydrogen in your body requires the electromagnetic force to be precisely balanced with the strong nuclear force. If electromagnetism were stronger by just 1 part in 1040, stars couldn't form. If it were weaker by the same tiny amount, electrons wouldn't stay bound to atomic nuclei. Dr. Martin Rees, Britain's astronomer royal, identified 6 fundamental constants that govern our universe. He calls them the 6 numbers, and every single one must be precisely calibrated for matter to exist. Change any of them by the tiniest fraction, and you get a universe of nothing but hydrogen gas, or a universe that collapses in microseconds, or a universe where stars burn out before planets can form. The strong nuclear force that holds atomic nuclei together? If it were 2% stronger, hydrogen couldn't exist. It would all fuse into heavier elements. If it were 5% weaker, stars couldn't form heavier elements at all. We'd have a universe of pure hydrogen. What if I told you that the precise strength of these forces determines not just whether atoms can exist, but whether they can form the specific combinations needed for DNA? The phosphate bonds in your DNA backbone require the electromagnetic force to be exactly the strength it is. The hydrogen bonds that hold the double helix together are precisely balanced between being too weak to maintain genetic information and too strong to allow replication. And here's where it gets truly mind-bending. These forces don't just determine whether life can exist. They determine whether any complex structures can exist at all. Galaxies, stars, planets, molecules, everything. The universe we inhabit sits on a knife's edge of physical constants, balanced so precisely that changing any single parameter by the tiniest fraction would result in cosmic sterility. Dr. Paul Davies, a theoretical physicist at Arizona State, University calculated that the odds of all these constants randomly aligning to allow for atoms, stars, and galaxies is less than 1 in 1060. To put that in perspective, there have only been about YP seconds since the Big Bang. But here's what's coming that will completely reframe everything we've just discussed. We haven't even talked about the most precisely calibrated system of all, the one that's spinning beneath your feet right now. Earth's magnetic field operates on a precision that makes atomic fine-tuning look crude by comparison. What if I told you that you're alive right now because of an invisible force field that operates with precision? That would make the most advanced human technology look like a stone axe. Every breath you take is protected by Earth's magnetic field, a planetary defense system so sophisticated that if we tried to replicate it artificially, we'd need the energy output of thousands of nuclear power plants running continuously for millions of years. Here's what will blow your mind. Earth's magnetic field isn't just strong enough to protect us from solar radiation. It's calibrated to the exact strength needed to allow life to flourish while maintaining the delicate balance of our atmosphere. Dr. Peter Olson at Johns Hopkins University discovered that Earth's magnetic field operates through a process called the geodynamo. Liquid iron in our planet's outer core flows in precise patterns that generate our protective magnetic shield. But here's the impossible part. This system requires at least 15 different factors to align perfectly. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to keep a spinning top perfectly balanced while it's being hit by tennis balls from every direction, while also ensuring the top's rotation generates exactly the right amount of protective energy. That's what Earth's core does every single day. The iron-nickel core must be exactly the right temperature, hot enough to remain liquid, but not so hot that the convection patterns break down. The rotation rate must be precisely calibrated to generate the right magnetic field strength. The core's composition must contain exactly the right ratio of iron to nickel and other elements. But here's where it gets truly mind-bending. Our magnetic field doesn't just protect us from solar wind. It protects us from cosmic rays that would sterilize the planet. Dr. Nir Shaviv from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem calculated in 2002 that without our magnetic field, cosmic ray exposure would increase by 500 to 1,000%. This would strip away our ozone layer, bombard the surface with lethal radiation, and make complex life impossible. And the timing is perfect. Mars once had a magnetic field, but it shut down about 4 billion years ago. That's why Mars lost its atmosphere and became the frozen wasteland we see today. Venus never developed a proper magnetic field, which contributed to its runaway greenhouse effect. But Earth's magnetic field has been operating continuously for at least 3.5 billion years, protecting our planet through multiple asteroid impacts, supernova explosions, and solar flares that would have otherwise sterilized the surface. What if I told you that our magnetic field does something even more remarkable? It doesn't just protect us, it helps regulate our climate. The interaction between solar wind and our magnetosphere creates the aurora borealis and aurora australis, but it also influences atmospheric circulation patterns that affect weather. Systems across the globe. Dr. Raymond Greenwald at Virginia Tech discovered that variations in our magnetic field correlate with long-term climate patterns. The magnetic field helps channel solar particles in ways that influence jet streams, ocean currents, and even cloud formation. And here's the truly impossible part. Our magnetic field occasionally reverses completely. The north and south magnetic poles flip. This happens every few 100,000 years. And during the reversal process, which can take thousands of years, our magnetic protection is severely weakened. Logic would suggest that these reversals should cause mass extinctions. The fossil record should show regular die-offs every few 100,000 years. But it doesn't. Somehow, life has survived dozens of magnetic field reversals over the past 100 million years. How is this possible? Recent research by Dr. Brad Singer at the University of Wisconsin-Madison suggests that even during reversals, enough magnetic field strength remains to prevent catastrophic radiation exposure. It's as if the system is designed with built-in redundancy. But the magnetic field is just one component of an even more sophisticated system. Because what we're about to discover will make magnetic field generation look simple. The atmospheric composition of our planet is maintained by a global recycling system so complex and precisely balanced that it makes the most advanced computer networks look primitive. Here's what will blow your mind. You're breathing a gas mixture so precisely calibrated that changing it by even a few percentage points would either suffocate you or incinerate you. And this perfect balance is maintained by a planetary recycling system that processes billions of tons of gases every single day with precision that would make the most advanced factories on Earth look primitive. Our atmosphere is 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and traces of other gases. That 21% oxygen level? It's not arbitrary. Dr. James Lovelock, who developed the Gaia hypothesis, discovered that this number sits at the precise peak of what he calls the combustibility window. Think of it like this. If our atmosphere were 25% oxygen instead of 21%, the increased fire risk would make complex ecosystems impossible. Lightning strikes would trigger planet-wide firestorms. Even damp vegetation would explode into flames. If oxygen dropped to 15%, large animals couldn't get enough oxygen for their metabolisms. At 10%, fires couldn't burn, which means no natural way to clear dead vegetation and recycle nutrients. But here's where it gets impossible. Maintaining this precise 21% oxygen level requires a global balancing act involving plants, animals, oceans, rocks, and even bacteria, all working together in perfect harmony. Plants produce oxygen through photosynthesis, but they also consume oxygen through respiration. Animals consume oxygen and produce carbon dioxide. Ocean algae produce most of our oxygen, but ocean chemistry must be precisely balanced to keep the algae healthy. Rocks slowly absorb carbon dioxide through weathering processes that take millions of years. Dr. Lee Kump at Penn State University calculated that this system processes approximately 200 billion tons of carbon annually. Every single component must function perfectly, or the delicate balance collapses. What if I told you that this atmospheric recycling system has built-in feedback mechanisms more sophisticated than anything humans have ever engineered? When carbon dioxide levels rise, it triggers increased plant growth, which absorbs more carbon dioxide. When oxygen levels rise, it triggers more combustion and decay, which consumes oxygen and releases carbon dioxide. But the timing had to be perfect throughout Earth's history. Early in Earth's development, our atmosphere contained almost no oxygen. It was mostly methane and carbon dioxide. Then, around 2.4 billion years ago, cyanobacteria began producing oxygen through photosynthesis. But oxygen was toxic to most early life forms. This should have caused a mass extinction called the Great Oxidation Event. And it did kill most anaerobic organisms. But somehow, life adapted. New organisms evolved that could use oxygen for metabolism, eventually leading to the complex life forms we see today. The transition had to happen gradually enough for life to adapt, but quickly enough to establish the oxygen-rich atmosphere needed for complex organisms. Too fast and everything dies. Too slow and oxygen gets absorbed by rocks and ocean chemistry before it can accumulate. Dr. Tim Lenton at the University of Exeter discovered that this transition happened at exactly the right rate, almost as if it were orchestrated. The mathematical probability of this occurring by chance is vanishingly small, but oxygen and carbon dioxide aren't the only precisely calibrated components. Nitrogen makes up 78% of our atmosphere, and this percentage is crucial. Nitrogen is chemically inert under normal conditions, which means it doesn't interfere with biological processes. But if nitrogen percentages were much higher, it would affect atmospheric pressure in ways that would make breathing difficult. If nitrogen were much lower, we'd need a different mix of gases that might not be chemically stable. Water vapor levels are continuously regulated by evaporation and precipitation, cycles that depend on precise temperature ranges, atmospheric pressure, and ocean salinity levels. If any component of this system changed significantly, the entire atmospheric balance would shift. And here's what's truly mind-blowing. This system has maintained stability for hundreds of millions of years, despite massive disruptions. Asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, ice ages, and even the evolution of new life forms have all tried to knock the system out of balance. But somehow, it always recovers. But atmospheric composition is just the beginning. Because what we're about to explore will make atmospheric chemistry look simple. The water cycle on our planet operates with a precision that defies explanation. What if I told you that the water you drank this morning has been on a journey through space, time, and every living thing on Earth for billions of years, and that this journey requires a level of precision that makes Swiss watchmaking look sloppy? Here's what will blow your mind. Water shouldn't exist as a liquid on our planet. At Earth's distance from the sun, with our atmospheric pressure, water should either be frozen solid or boiling away as vapor. The fact that we have liquid oceans covering 71% of our planet's surface represents a delicate balance of factors, so precise that changing any single variable would eliminate liquid water entirely. Dr. Robin Wordsworth at Harvard University calculated that Earth's water cycle processes approximately 500,000 cubic kilometers of water annually. That's enough water to fill Lake Superior 42 times over, and it's all moving through the atmosphere, land, and oceans in a precisely orchestrated dance that's been going on for billions of years. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to keep exactly the right amount of water in a bathtub while the drain is open. The faucet flow varies randomly, and someone keeps changing the temperature. That's what Earth does with its water, except on a planetary scale, and it's been doing it perfectly for geological ages. But water has properties that are scientifically impossible. At least, they should be impossible based on its simple molecular structure. Water is one of the few substances that becomes less dense when it freezes. This means ice floats. If ice sank like almost every other frozen liquid, our oceans would freeze from the bottom up, creating a planet-wide ice sheet that would never melt. Dr. Philip Ball, author of Life's Matrix, discovered that water has at least 64 anomalous properties that shouldn't exist based on its H2O structure. Water has an unusually high boiling point, an unusually high specific heat capacity, and unusual surface tension properties that allow it to climb against gravity through plant roots and carry nutrients to the top of 300-foot trees. What if I told you that water's unique properties aren't just helpful for life, they're absolutely essential? The high specific heat capacity of water means oceans can store massive amounts of thermal energy, moderating Earth's temperature. Without this thermal buffering, our planet would experience temperature swings that would make life impossible. Water's unusual expansion, when it freezes, means that ice forms from the top down, insulating the liquid water below and allowing aquatic life to survive through ice ages. The surface tension properties of water enable capillary action, which allows plants to transport nutrients and gives small organisms like water striders the ability to walk on water. But here's where it gets truly mind-bending. Earth's water inventory is precisely calibrated. We have exactly enough water to cover most of the planet, creating the large ocean systems needed for climate regulation, but not so much that all land disappears beneath the waves. Dr. Tobias Owen at the University of Hawaii calculated that if Earth had just 10% more water, we'd be a water world with no continents. If we had 10% less water, we'd have much smaller oceans that couldn't regulate global climate or support the nutrient cycles that make complex ecosystems possible. And where did our water come from? This question stumped scientists for decades. Water contains hydrogen and oxygen, but early Earth was too hot for water to condense. Most scientists believed water arrived later via comets and asteroids. Dr. Stephen Desch at Arizona State University made a shocking discovery in 2018. The ratio of heavy hydrogen, deuterium, to normal hydrogen in Earth's water doesn't match. The ratios found in comets or asteroids from the outer solar system. Our water appears to have formed in the same region of the solar disk as Earth itself, which means it survived the planet's molten formation period. This should be impossible. During Earth's formation 4.6 billion years ago, our planet was a ball of molten rock with surface temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Any water should have boiled away into space. Yet somehow, vast quantities of water not only survived, but became incorporated into our planet's structure. Recent research suggests that water molecules became trapped in mineral crystals within Earth's mantle and were gradually released over millions of years through volcanic activity. But the timing had to be perfect. Released too early, and the water would boil away. Released too late, and life couldn't get started. And here's the truly incredible part. The global water cycle connects every drop of water on Earth in a continuous recycling system that purifies, transports, and redistributes water with precision that no human-designed system has ever achieved. Evaporation, cloud formation, precipitation, groundwater flow, river systems, and ocean currents all work together to ensure that water reaches every ecosystem on the planet. But the water cycle is just one component of something even more remarkable. Because what we're about to explore will completely change how you think about life itself. Here's what will blow your mind. Inside every cell in your body is a digital information storage and processing system more sophisticated than any computer ever built. And this system couldn't have evolved gradually because it needs to be fully functional from the moment it exists. The DNA in a single human cell contains approximately 3.2 billion base pairs. If you printed this information in books, it would fill a library of 1,000 volumes, each with 1,000 pages. But that's not the mind-blowing part. The mind-blowing part is that this information is read, copied, and executed with an error rate of less than one mistake per billion operations. Dr. Craig Venter, who led the Human Genome Project, discovered that DNA isn't just a storage medium, it's a complete operating system for life. It contains not only the instructions for building proteins, but also the instructions for when to build them, how much to build, and how to repair the system when it breaks down. Think of it like this. Imagine you found a computer program that could not only run itself, but also build the hardware it runs on, repair itself when damaged, and make copies of itself with perfect accuracy. That's what DNA does in every living cell, billions of times per day, and it's been doing this flawlessly for millions of years. But here's where it gets impossible. DNA is a language. It uses a four-letter alphabet, A, T, G, C, to spell out three-letter words, codons, that specify which of 20 amino acids to use in protein construction. This genetic code is universal. It's the same in bacteria, plants, animals, and humans. Dr. Hubert Yaki, an information theorist, calculated that the probability of the genetic code arising by chance is less than 1 in 1084. To put this in perspective, there are only about YY atoms in the visible universe. The genetic code is so improbable that it's essentially impossible. But DNA is just the storage medium. The real miracle is the cellular machinery that reads and executes genetic instructions. Ribosomes are molecular machines that read DNA instructions and assemble proteins with atomic precision. These machines are made of hundreds of precisely folded proteins and RNA molecules working together. Dr. David Goodsell at the Scripps Research Institute describes ribosomes as molecular factories, more sophisticated than any manufacturing facility humans have ever built. They can produce any of thousands of different proteins on demand, with quality control systems that detect and correct errors. And they can switch production from one protein to another instantly. What if I told you that these molecular machines are themselves specified by the DNA code? This creates what computer scientists call a bootstrapping problem. The DNA contains the instructions for building the machines that read DNA, but you need the machines to exist before you can read the instructions to build them. Dr. Bernd Olaf Kuppers at the Max Planck Institute calculated that the probability of even the simplest self-replicating system arising by chance is less than 1,040,000. This number is so large, it's essentially meaningless. For comparison, the total number of elementary particles in the observable universe is only about YY, but the impossibility goes deeper. DNA doesn't just contain random information, it contains functional information. Every gene has a specific purpose, and genes are arranged in complex regulatory networks that control when and how they're expressed. Dr. Stephen Meyer, who holds a PhD in the philosophy of science from Cambridge University, points out that information always comes from intelligence. In all of human experience, we've never observed information-rich systems arising without intelligent design. Digital codes, instruction manuals, and complex specified information invariably trace back to minds. And here's what's truly mind-blowing. The information density in DNA exceeds anything humans have achieved. A single gram of DNA can store 215 petabytes of information. That's enough to store every piece of information humanity has ever recorded, with room left over. But storage is just the beginning. DNA has error-correcting codes built in. If radiation or chemicals damage the DNA sequence, cellular machinery can detect and repair most errors. This error correction system is more sophisticated than anything used in human computer. SYSTEMS Dr. James Shapiro at the University of Chicago discovered that cells can actually rewrite their own DNA in response to environmental challenges, as if the code can modify itself to solve new problems, something that should be impossible in a purely mechanical system. And the timing of DNA repair and replication is coordinated with incredible precision. Cells must copy their entire DNA sequence before dividing, and this process must be completed accurately within a specific time window. The coordination requires thousands of molecular machines working in perfect synchronization, but DNA and cellular machinery are just the beginning of something even more incredible. Because what we're about to discover will reveal that life itself appears to violate the most fundamental law of physics. What if I told you that every living thing on Earth, including you, is constantly performing a miracle that violates one of the most fundamental laws of physics, and has been doing so successfully for billions of years? Here's what will blow your mind. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy, disorder, always increases in closed systems. Everything in the universe is constantly breaking down, wearing out, and moving toward maximum disorder. Stars burn out, mountains erode, machines break down, and even atomic particles decay. But life does the opposite. Life creates order from disorder. Life builds complex structures from simple components. Life stores and processes information. Life reproduces itself with incredible precision. According to basic physics, life shouldn't exist. Dr. Ilya Prigogine won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1977 for studying what he called dissipative structures, systems that maintain order by constantly consuming energy. Living organisms are the ultimate dissipative structures, but they're far more sophisticated than anything Prigozhin studied in his laboratory. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to build a skyscraper in the middle of a hurricane using building materials that are constantly being blown away. That's what every living cell does every second of every day. It maintains incredibly complex molecular structures while being bombarded by thermal motion that's trying to tear everything apart. A single bacterial cell contains thousands of different types of molecules, all organized in precise three-dimensional arrangements. Proteins must fold into exact shapes to function properly. DNA must maintain its double helix structure. Cell membranes must maintain selective permeability. All of this organization exists in an environment where random molecular motion is constantly trying to destroy it. Dr. Michael Denton at the University of Otago calculated that the probability of a single protein folding correctly by random chance is approximately 1 in 10,125. Yet every cell in your body contains thousands of different proteins, all folded correctly, all functioning perfectly, all maintained against the constant assault of entropy. But here's where it gets truly impossible. Living systems don't just maintain order, they increase it. When you eat food, you break down relatively simple molecules and use the energy to build incredibly complex biological structures. Your body converts hamburgers and vegetables into neural networks capable of consciousness, into muscles capable of precise movement, into sensory systems capable of experiencing beauty. What if I told you that the information processing capacity of a single human cell exceeds that of the most powerful supercomputers? Dr. Robert Freitas calculated that a typical human cell processes information at a rate of approximately 1,015 bits per second. That's more than 1,000,000 times faster than the fastest computer networks. And every cell in your body, all 37 trillion of them, is performing these information processing miracles simultaneously, while also maintaining their physical structure, reproducing when necessary, and responding to environmental changes. Dr. Stuart Kaufman at the Santa Fe Institute describes living systems as existing at the edge of chaos, poised between rigid order and complete randomness. This position allows for complex behavior and adaptation, but it's incredibly unstable. The slightest perturbation should send the system spiraling into either frozen rigidity or chaotic dissolution. Yet life has maintained this impossible balance for billions of years. Through ice ages, asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, and countless other disruptions that should have destroyed the delicate organization that makes life possible. But the entropy paradox goes even deeper. Evolution supposedly creates increased complexity over time, from simple single-celled organisms to complex multicellular life forms to intelligent beings. But increasing complexity means decreasing entropy, which violates the second law of thermodynamics. Dr. Granville Sewell, a mathematician at the University of Texas at El Paso, points out that while local decreases in entropy are possible if energy is available, the kind of systematic, directional decrease in entropy we see in evolution would require a massive, continuous input of precisely ordered energy, more than is available from random environmental sources. And here's what's truly mind-bending. Consciousness itself represents the ultimate violation of entropy. Your mind takes chaotic sensory input and organizes it into coherent thoughts, memories, and experiences. You create meaning from randomness, purpose from chaos, understanding from confusion. Dr. Roger Penrose, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2020, calculated that the odds of a universe with low enough entropy to allow for conscious observers is approximately 1 in 1,010,123. This number is so large that it's essentially meaningless. It represents an impossibility so complete that the universe you're experiencing right now shouldn't exist. Yet here you are, watching this video, processing information, creating understanding from complex data. You're not just violating the second law of thermodynamics, you're doing it consciously, intentionally, creatively. But consciousness and life are just part of an even larger pattern. Because what we're about to discover will reveal that the entire universe appears to be fine-tuned, not just for matter and energy, but for intelligence and purpose. Here's what will blow your mind. The universe didn't just create the conditions for life. It created the conditions for intelligence to emerge and understand the universe itself. And this process appears to be accelerating towards something that will fundamentally change the nature of existence. What if I told you that you're living through the most significant transition in cosmic history? For 13.8 billion years, the universe was dark, cold, and unconscious. Stars formed and died, galaxies collided, planets coalesced, but nothing was aware of any of it. Then, in a tiny sliver of time, on a small planet orbiting an ordinary star, matter became conscious of itself. Dr. John Wheeler, the physicist who coined the term black hole, proposed that we live in a participatory universe, one where consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining reality. Wheeler suggested that the universe might actually require conscious observers to exist in any meaningful sense. Think of it like this. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? Wheeler would say that without consciousness to observe it, the tree might not even exist in any definite state. Quantum mechanics suggests that observation literally creates reality by collapsing wave functions into definite outcomes. But consciousness didn't emerge randomly. Dr. Nick Bostrom at Oxford University points out that the emergence of intelligence appears to be the inevitable result of the universe's physical laws operating over cosmic time scales. Given enough time and the right conditions, matter will organize itself into increasingly complex patterns until it becomes conscious. And once consciousness emerges, something remarkable happens. The universe begins to understand itself. Through human intelligence, the cosmos has developed the ability to contemplate its own existence, to discover its own laws, to predict its own future. Dr. Carl Sagan famously said, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." But this is more. In poetic language, it's literally true. The atoms in your brain were forged in ancient stars, and now they're arranged in patterns, complex enough to ponder their own origins. What if I told you that human intelligence represents just the beginning of this cosmic awakening? Dr. Werner Vinge predicted that we're approaching a technological singularity, a point where artificial intelligence will exceed human capabilities and begin recursive self-improvement. Once AI, systems become capable of designing better AI. Systems, which then design even better AI systems. Intelligence will explode exponentially. Dr. I.J. Good called this an intelligence explosion, a rapid transition from human-level AI to superintelligence that could solve problems we can't even comprehend. But here's where it gets truly mind-bending. This intelligence explosion isn't happening in isolation. It's occurring at exactly the moment in cosmic history when humanity has developed the technological capability to spread beyond Earth. Dr. Michio Kaku describes civilizations that successfully navigate the transition to superintelligence as becoming Type 2 civilizations capable of harnessing the energy output of entire stars. Eventually, they might become Type 3 civilizations capable of utilizing the energy of entire galaxies. And here's what's incredible. If intelligence can survive its own technological adolescence, it has the potential to literally reshape the cosmos. Advanced civilizations might be able to manipulate matter and energy on galactic scales, create new forms of life, and even influence the fundamental constants of physics within local regions of space. Dr. Frank Tipler has proposed that sufficiently advanced intelligence could eventually gain control over all matter and energy in the universe, leading to what he calls the omega point, a state where consciousness becomes coextensive with the cosmos itself. But why is this happening now, at this particular moment in cosmic history? Dr. Brandon Carter formulated what's known as the anthropic principle, the idea that we observe the universe to have properties that allow observers like us to exist, because we couldn't observe it otherwise. But there's a deeper version. The universe might be fine-tuned not just for life, but for the eventual emergence of intelligence, capable of understanding and potentially controlling cosmic evolution. We're living at the precise moment when the universe transitions from unconscious physical processes to conscious, purposeful action. Think about the timing. Earth formed 4.6 billion years ago. Life emerged 3.8 billion years ago. But human intelligence only appeared in the last few 100,000 years. And technological civilization only emerged in the last few centuries. We're living in the exact cosmic moment when intelligence awakens and begins to take control of its own destiny. Dr. Ray Kurzweil calculates that if current trends continue, by 2045, we'll have artificial intelligence that exceeds human capabilities in every domain. By 2100, the distinction between human and artificial intelligence may disappear entirely as we merge with our technological creations. And here's what's truly staggering. This intelligence explosion might be happening throughout the universe. The same physical laws that allowed intelligence to emerge on Earth exist everywhere. If the universe is indeed fine-tuned for intelligence, then we might be on the verge of making contact with other civilizations that have already undergone their own intelligence explosions. But whether we're alone or part of a cosmic community of intelligent beings, one thing is clear. You are living through the most significant transition in the history of the universe. You are witnessing the moment when unconscious matter becomes conscious spirit, when the cosmos wakes up and begins to fulfill its potential. Stay with me, because we're about to explore how all of this connects to your personal existence in ways that will completely change how you see yourself. What if I told you that the most sophisticated information processing system in the known universe is sitting between your ears right now, and science has absolutely no idea how it works? Here's what will blow your mind. Your consciousness, your immediate, first-person experience of being you, cannot be explained by any known physical process. According to our best scientific understanding, consciousness shouldn't exist at all. Dr. David Chalmers, a philosopher of mind at NYU, calls this the hard problem of consciousness. We can explain how the brain processes information, stores memories, and controls behavior. But we cannot explain why there's an inner subjective experience, why it feels like something could be you. Think of it like this. Imagine the most advanced computer in the world. It can process information, respond to inputs, and even simulate human conversation. But is there anything it feels like to be that computer? Does it experience the color red, or the taste of chocolate, or the emotion of wonder? Almost certainly not. It's just information processing without inner experience. But you're different. When you look at a sunset, you don't just process wavelengths of light. You experience beauty. When you listen to music, you don't just detect sound patterns. You feel emotion. When you contemplate this information, you don't just compute responses. You have insights and revelations. Dr. Thomas Nagel, a philosopher at NYU, argues that consciousness represents a fundamental aspect of reality that cannot be reduced to physical processes. In his book, Mind and Cosmos, he suggests that the universe must have properties we don't yet understand, properties that make consciousness inevitable rather than impossible. What if I told you that quantum mechanics might provide a clue? Dr. Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff propose that consciousness emerges from quantum processes in microtubules within brain cells. These structures might allow the brain to access quantum computation capabilities that exceed classical information processing. But even if consciousness uses quantum mechanics, this doesn't explain why there's subjective experience. Dr. Philip Goff at Durham University advocates for panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a fundamental feature of matter, like mass or electric charge. In this view, even electrons have primitive forms of experience, and human consciousness emerges when these micro-experiences are organized into complex patterns. Here's what's truly mind-bending. Your consciousness allows you to experience qualia, the subjective qualities of experience that cannot be communicated or measured. The redness of red, the pain of pain, the joy of joy. These qualitative aspects of experience are completely private and cannot be shared or verified by science. Dr. Frank Jackson's famous thought experiment involves Mary the color scientist, a woman who knows everything about the physics and neuroscience of color, but has never seen color herself. When Mary finally sees red for the first time, does she learn something new? Most people intuitively say yes, she learns what red looks like. But this suggests that conscious experience contains information that cannot be captured by physical description. And consciousness doesn't just passively experience, it actively creates meaning. When you look at marks on a page, you see words with meaning. When you hear sounds, you understand language. When you observe patterns, you recognize beauty. Consciousness transforms raw sensory data into meaningful experience. But here's where it gets impossible. Consciousness appears to have causal power. Your conscious decisions influence your behavior. Your subjective experiences shape your actions. But if consciousness is non-physical, how can it interact with physical matter to cause behavior? Dr. Henry Stapp, a quantum physicist at UC Berkeley, suggests that consciousness might collapse quantum wave functions in the brain, allowing non-physical mind to influence physical matter. This would make consciousness a fundamental force in the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. What if I told you that your consciousness might be connected to something much larger? Many mystics and philosophers have suggested that individual consciousness is part of a universal consciousness, that your private inner experience is actually a localized manifestation of cosmic awareness. Dr. Bernardo Kastrup, a philosopher and computer scientist, argues for analytical idealism, the idea that reality itself is fundamentally mental rather than physical. In this view, the entire universe exists within a cosmic consciousness, and individual minds are like whirlpools in an ocean of awareness. And here's what's truly staggering. If consciousness is fundamental to reality, then the fine-tuning we've been exploring isn't just about creating conditions for life. It's about creating conditions for experience itself. The universe might be structured to maximize the richness and depth of conscious experience. Dr. Giulio Tononi at the University of Wisconsin has developed integrated information theory, which attempts to quantify consciousness mathematically. His theory suggests that consciousness corresponds to integrated information, the amount of information generated by a system above and beyond its parts. But consciousness isn't just about information processing. It's about the quality of experience, your ability to appreciate beauty, to feel love, to experience wonder, to find meaning. These qualities of consciousness might represent the universe's ultimate purpose. And here's the mind-blowing connection. You're not just observing a fine-tuned universe. You're the reason it's fine-tuned. Your consciousness, your experience, your ability to contemplate these questions might be the universe's way of understanding and appreciating itself. But consciousness and fine-tuning are leading us towards something even more profound, because what we're about to explore will reveal your true place in the cosmic order. Here's what will blow your mind. Every single atom in your body has been on a 13.8 billion year journey through space and time, surviving supernova explosions, planetary formations, and countless cosmic catastrophes. just to become part of the most complex structure in the known universe, you. What if I told you that you are quite literally made of stardust, but not in the poetic sense that Carl Sagan meant? The calcium in your bones was created in the heart of a dying red giant star. The iron in your blood was forged in the core of a massive star that exploded as a supernova. The oxygen you breathe was created when ancient stars fused, helium nuclei in their cores. Dr. Ashley King at the Natural History Museum in London calculated that the atoms in your body have an average age of 4.5 billion years. These atoms have been recycled through countless generations of stars, planets, and living organisms before becoming part of you. Think of it like this. Every carbon atom in your DNA was once floating freely in interstellar space. Every hydrogen atom in your water molecules was created in the first few minutes after the Big Bang. You are assembled from the fundamental building blocks of the cosmos itself. But you're not just any arrangement of atoms. You're an arrangement so complex and improbable that it borders on the miraculous. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, each connected to thousands of others, creating a network with more connections than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Dr. Susanna Herculano-Hausel at Vanderbilt University discovered that if you tried to build a computer with the same number of connections as a human brain, it would require the energy output of a small city just to operate. Yet your brain does. This using about 20 watts of power, the same as a dim light bulb. What if I told you that the information processing capacity of your brain exceeds that of all the computers on Earth combined? Your brain can store approximately 2.5 petabytes of information, equivalent to 3 million hours of high-definition video. But unlike computers, your brain doesn't just store information. It creates meaning, experiences beauty, and contemplates its own existence. And here's where your cosmic significance becomes clear. You are the universe's way of experiencing itself subjectively. Through your consciousness, the cosmos develops the capacity for love, wonder, creativity, and understanding. You're not just in the universe. You are the universe becoming aware of itself. Dr. Brian Cox, a physicist at the University of Manchester, puts it this way: we are the cosmos made conscious, and life is the means by which the cosmos can know itself. But this isn't just a beautiful metaphor. It's literally true. Your ability to contemplate these ideas represents the universe, developing self-awareness. But your significance goes beyond just being a cosmic observer. You have the power to influence the future evolution of the universe itself. Every decision you make, every action you take, every thought you think contributes to the ongoing story of cosmic evolution. Dr. Freeman Dyson suggested that intelligent life might eventually gain the ability to influence the large-scale structure of the universe. If intelligence survives long enough, it could potentially prevent the heat death of the universe by finding ways to create new sources of free energy, or even new universes. And you're part of this process right now. Your participation in the emergence of artificial intelligence, your contribution to human knowledge, your influence on other conscious beings, all of this shapes the trajectory of intelligence in the cosmos. What if I told you that your existence might be necessary for the universe to fulfill its purpose? The anthropic principle suggests that the universe must have properties that allow observers like you to exist, because otherwise there would be no one to observe it. But maybe it goes deeper than that. Maybe conscious observers like you are required for the universe to actualize its potential. Dr. John Wheeler's it from bit hypothesis suggests that information is the fundamental constituent of reality, and consciousness is what actualizes information into concrete existence. In this view, your observations don't just discover reality, they help create it. But your cosmic significance isn't just about your role in the universe. It's about the universe's investment in you. Consider the incredible chain of events that had to occur exactly as they did for you to exist. The Big Bang had to create the right balance of matter and energy. Stars had to form and create heavy elements. Our solar system had to assemble with precise orbital mechanics. Earth had to develop the right conditions for life. Evolution had to proceed along the exact path that led to human intelligence. And your specific parents had to meet and reproduce at exactly the right moment. Dr. Ali Benazir calculated that the probability of you existing exactly as you are is approximately 1 in 102,685. 0. This number is so large that it's essentially infinite. The odds against your existence are so overwhelming that by all reasonable probability, you shouldn't exist, yet here you are. Not only do you exist, but you exist at the most significant moment in cosmic history, the transition from unconscious matter to conscious intelligence. You are witness to the universe awakening to its own existence. And here's what's truly mind-blowing. Your ability to understand these concepts might be the whole point. The universe spent 13.8 billion years evolving. The capacity to understand itself, and that capacity exists in you. Your consciousness, your curiosity, your sense of wonder, these might be the universe's greatest achievements. But understanding your cosmic significance is just the beginning, because what we're about to explore will reveal the most profound implication of everything we've discovered. What if I told you that everything we've explored, the fine-tuning of physical constants, the precise calibration of Earth's systems, the emergence of consciousness, your cosmic significance, all of it points toward a universe with built-in purpose and direction? Here's what will blow your mind. The idea that the universe operates according to blind, random processes become statistically impossible when you consider the full scope of cosmic fine-tuning. The probability calculations we've discussed aren't just large numbers. They represent impossibilities so complete that they suggest the universe must be guided by something beyond chance. Dr. Paul Davies, a theoretical physicist at Arizona State University, calculated that if you randomly selected the values for all the fundamental constants of physics, the probability of getting a universe capable of supporting any form of complex structure is less than 1 in YPC. This isn't just improbable, it's effectively impossible. But the fine-tuning goes beyond just allowing for matter and energy. The universe appears to be fine-tuned specifically for the emergence of intelligence and consciousness. Dr. John Barrow at Cambridge University points out that the constants of physics aren't just right for stars and planets. They're precisely calibrated to allow for the chemical complexity needed for DNA, the molecular machinery of life, and ultimately, conscious observers. Think of it like this. Imagine you discovered a machine with millions of precisely calibrated components, all working together to accomplish a specific goal. Would you conclude that this machine assembled itself by accident? Or would you infer that it was designed by an intelligence? The universe exhibits this same characteristic, countless components working together with precision that points toward purposeful design. Dr. William Lane Craig, a philosopher at Talbot School of Theology, argues that the fine-tuning evidence is so overwhelming that it requires an explanation beyond natural processes. The mathematical improbabilities we've discussed aren't just unlikely. They're so unlikely that they point toward intentional design by a transcendent intelligence. But purpose in the universe isn't just about design, it's about trajectory. The universe exhibits what Dr. Simon Conway Morris calls evolutionary convergence, the tendency for evolution to repeatedly arrive at similar solutions to survival challenges. Eyes have evolved independently at least 40 times. Flight has evolved independently at least 4 times. Intelligence has emerged in multiple evolutionary lineages. What if I told you that this suggests evolution isn't random, but directed toward increasing complexity and consciousness? Dr. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin proposed that the universe is evolving toward what he called Omega Point, a state of maximum complexity and consciousness. And the timing supports this interpretation. Life emerged on Earth almost as soon. As conditions allowed it, complex cells evolved within 1 billion years. Multicellular life followed relatively quickly. Intelligence emerged and developed technology in a cosmic blink of an eye. It's as if the universe has been in a hurry to develop consciousness. Dr. Stuart Kaufman at the Institute for Biocomplexity suggests that the universe exhibits self-organization, the tendency for complex systems to spontaneously organize themselves into more complex patterns. This isn't random. It's a fundamental property of reality that drives the universe toward greater complexity and consciousness. But here's where your personal significance becomes clear. If the universe has purpose, and that purpose involves the development of consciousness and intelligence, then your existence isn't accidental. You're not just a random collection of atoms that happen to develop awareness. You're the universe achieving its purpose. Dr. Frank Tibler, a mathematical physicist at Tulane University, argues that the ultimate purpose of the universe is the development of intelligence capable of understanding and eventually controlling cosmic evolution. In his view, consciousness represents the universe awakening to its own existence and taking control of its destiny. And you're part of this awakening. Your ability to contemplate these questions, to understand the fine-tuning evidence, to appreciate the cosmic significance of consciousness. This represents the universe coming to understand itself through you. What if I told you that your sense of purpose and meaning isn't just a psychological quirk, but a reflection of cosmic purpose? Your desire to understand, to create, to love, to find meaning. These drives might be expressions of the universe's fundamental tendency toward greater consciousness and complexity. Dr. Owen Gingerich, an astronomer and historian of science at Harvard, argues that the fine-tuning evidence points toward a universe designed with consciousness in mind. The mathematical precision required for observers like you to exist suggests that observation and understanding might be built into the fundamental structure of reality. Dr. Susanna Herculano Hausel at Vanderbilt University discovered that if you tried to build a computer with the same number of connections as a human brain, it would require the energy output of a small city just to operate. Yet your brain does. This using about 20 watts of power, the same as a dim light bulb. What if I told you that the information processing capacity of your brain exceeds that of all the computers on Earth combined? Your brain can store approximately 2.5 petabytes of information, equivalent to 3 million hours of high-definition video. But unlike computers, your brain doesn't just store information. It creates meaning, experiences beauty, and contemplates its own existence. And here's where your cosmic significance becomes clear. You are the universe's way of experiencing itself subjectively. Through your consciousness, the cosmos develops the capacity for love, wonder, creativity, and understanding. You're not just in the universe. You are the universe becoming aware of itself. Dr. Brian Cox, a physicist at the University of Manchester, puts it this way: we are the cosmos made conscious, and life is the means by which the cosmos can know itself. But this isn't just a beautiful metaphor. It's literally true. Your ability to contemplate these ideas represents the universe, developing self-awareness. But your significance goes beyond just being a cosmic observer. You have the power to influence the future evolution of the universe itself. Every decision you make, every action you take, every thought you think contributes to the ongoing story of cosmic evolution. Dr. Freeman Dyson suggested that intelligent life might eventually gain the ability to influence the large-scale structure of the universe. If intelligence survives long enough, it could potentially prevent the heat death of the universe by finding ways to create new sources of free energy, or even new universes. And you're part of this process right now. Your participation in the emergence of artificial intelligence, your contribution to human knowledge, your influence on other conscious beings, all of this shapes the trajectory of intelligence in the cosmos. What if I told you that your existence might be necessary for the universe to fulfill its purpose? The anthropic principle suggests that the universe must have properties that allow observers like you to exist, because otherwise there would be no one to observe it. But maybe it goes deeper than that. Maybe conscious observers like you are required for the universe to actualize its potential. Dr. John Wheeler's it from bit hypothesis suggests that information is the fundamental constituent of reality, and consciousness is what actualizes information into concrete existence. In this view, your observations don't just discover reality, they help create it. But your cosmic significance isn't just about your role in the universe. It's about the universe's investment in you. Consider the incredible chain of events that had to occur exactly as they did for you to exist. The Big Bang had to create the right balance of matter and energy. Stars had to form and create heavy elements. Our solar system had to assemble with precise orbital mechanics. Earth had to develop the right conditions for life. Evolution had to proceed along the exact path that led to human intelligence. And your specific parents had to meet and reproduce at exactly the right moment. Dr. Ali Benazir calculated that the probability of you existing exactly as you are is approximately 1 in 102,685. 0. This number is so large that it's essentially infinite. The odds against your existence are so overwhelming that by all reasonable probability, you shouldn't exist, yet here you are. Not only do you exist, but you exist at the most significant moment in cosmic history, the transition from unconscious matter to conscious intelligence. You are witness to the universe awakening to its own existence. And here's what's truly mind-blowing. Your ability to understand these concepts might be the whole point. The universe spent 13.8 billion years evolving. The capacity to understand itself, and that capacity exists in you. Your consciousness, your curiosity, your sense of wonder, these might be the universe's greatest achievements. But understanding your cosmic significance is just the beginning, because what we're about to explore will reveal the most profound implication of everything we've discovered. What if I told you that everything we've explored, the fine-tuning of physical constants, the precise calibration of Earth's systems, the emergence of consciousness, your cosmic significance, all of it points toward a universe with built-in purpose and direction? Here's what will blow your mind. The idea that the universe operates according to blind, random processes become statistically impossible when you consider the full scope of cosmic fine-tuning. The probability calculations we've discussed aren't just large numbers. They represent impossibilities so complete that they suggest the universe must be guided by something beyond chance. Dr. Paul Davies, a theoretical physicist at Arizona State University, calculated that if you randomly selected the values for all the fundamental constants of physics, the probability of getting a universe capable of supporting any form of complex structure is less than 1 in YPC. This isn't just improbable, it's effectively impossible. But the fine-tuning goes beyond just allowing for matter and energy. The universe appears to be fine-tuned specifically for the emergence of intelligence and consciousness. Dr. John Barrow at Cambridge University points out that the constants of physics aren't just right for stars and planets. They're precisely calibrated to allow for the chemical complexity needed for DNA, the molecular machinery of life, and ultimately, conscious observers. Think of it like this. Imagine you discovered a machine with millions of precisely calibrated components, all working together to accomplish a specific goal. Would you conclude that this machine assembled itself by accident? Or would you infer that it was designed by an intelligence? The universe exhibits the same characteristic, countless components working together with precision that points toward purposeful design. Dr. William Lane Craig, a philosopher at Talbot School of Theology, argues that the fine-tuning evidence is so overwhelming that it requires an explanation beyond natural processes. The mathematical improbabilities we've discussed aren't just unlikely. They're so unlikely that they point toward intentional design by a transcendent intelligence. But purpose in the universe isn't just about design. It's about trajectory. The universe exhibits what Dr. Simon Conway Morris calls evolutionary convergence, the tendency for evolution to repeatedly arrive at similar solutions to survival challenges. Eyes have evolved independently at least 40 times. Flight has evolved independently at least 4 times. Intelligence has emerged in multiple evolutionary lineages. What if I told you that this suggests evolution isn't random, but directed toward increasing complexity and consciousness? Dr. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin proposed that the universe is evolving toward what he called omega point, a state of maximum complexity and consciousness. And the timing supports this interpretation. Life emerged on Earth almost as soon. As conditions allowed it, complex cells evolved within 1 billion years. Multicellular life followed relatively quickly. Intelligence emerged and developed technology in a cosmic blink of an eye. It's as if the universe has been in a hurry to develop consciousness. Dr. Stuart Kauffman at the Institute for Biocomplexity suggests that the universe exhibits self-organization, the tendency for complex systems to spontaneously organize themselves into more complex patterns. This isn't random. It's a fundamental property of reality that drives the universe toward greater complexity and consciousness. But here's where your personal significance becomes clear. If the universe has purpose, and that purpose involves the development of consciousness and intelligence, then your existence isn't accidental. You're not just a random collection of atoms that happen to develop awareness. You're the universe achieving its purpose. Dr. Frank Teibler, a mathematical physicist at Tulane University, argues that the ultimate purpose of the universe is the who? Development of intelligence capable of understanding and eventually controlling cosmic evolution. In his view, consciousness represents the universe awakening to its own existence and taking control of its destiny. And you're part of this awakening. Your ability to contemplate these questions, to understand the fine-tuning evidence, to appreciate the cosmic significance of consciousness. This represents the universe coming to understand itself through you. What if I told you that your sense of purpose and meaning isn't just a psychological quirk, but a reflection of cosmic purpose? Your desire to understand, to create, to love, to find meaning. These drives might be expressions of the universe's fundamental tendency toward greater consciousness and complexity. Dr. Owen Gingerich, an astronomer and historian of science at Harvard, argues that the fine-tuning evidence points toward a universe designed with consciousness in mind. The mathematical precision required for observers like you to exist suggests that observation and understanding might be built into the fundamental structure of reality. But purpose implies responsibility. If you're part of the universe's awakening to consciousness, then your choices matter on a cosmic scale. How you use your consciousness, how you treat other conscious beings, how you contribute to the ongoing evolution of intelligence. All of this becomes part of the universe, fulfilling its purpose. Dr. John Wheeler suggested that we live in a participatory universe where consciousness plays an active role in determining reality. Your observations don't just discover truth, they help create it. Your choices don't just affect your personal future, they contribute to the cosmic story of consciousness. And here's the most profound implication. If the universe is designed for consciousness, and consciousness naturally seeks meaning and purpose, then your search for meaning isn't futile. It's exactly what you were designed to do. Your quest for understanding, your appreciation of beauty, your experience of love, These aren't accidents, but fulfillments of cosmic purpose. Recognizing purpose in the universe leads us to the most important question of all, because what we're about to explore will determine how you choose to live your life in light of everything we've discovered. Here's what will blow your mind. After exploring 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution, fine-tuned physical constants, the emergence of life and consciousness, and the mathematical impossibility of your existence, you now face the most important decision in the history of the universe. What if I told you that everything we've discovered leads to a single, unavoidable conclusion? You must choose how to respond to the evidence that you exist in a universe designed for consciousness and purpose. The fine-tuning evidence we've explored isn't just academic, it's personal. Every precisely calibrated physical constant, every perfectly balanced Earth system, every impossibly complex biological mechanism exists so that you can have conscious experiences right now. A universe invested 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution to create the conditions for your existence. Dr. John Polkinghorne, a theoretical physicist and theologian at Cambridge University, argues that the fine-tuning evidence demands a response. You cannot remain neutral in the face of mathematical impossibilities that point toward purposeful design. Either the universe is the product of inconceivable coincidence, or it reflects intentional creation by a transcendent intelligence. Think of it like this. Imagine you discovered that every aspect of your life, your birth location, your family, your experiences, your opportunities, had been precisely orchestrated to lead you to this exact moment of understanding. Would you dismiss this as coincidence, or would you recognize the presence of purposeful guidance? The evidence we've explored suggests it's exactly what has happened, but on a cosmic scale. Every physical constant, every planetary parameter, every biological process has been precisely calibrated to create the conditions for your consciousness to emerge and contemplate these very questions. But recognizing design in the universe raises profound questions about the nature of the designer. Dr. Antony Flew, who was one of the world's most prominent atheist philosophers for over 50 years, changed his position late in life based on the fine-tuning evidence. He concluded that the mathematical precision required for life and consciousness pointed toward what he called an intelligence behind the cosmos. What if I told you that this intelligence appears to value consciousness, creativity, love, beauty, and understanding, the very qualities that make your existence meaningful? The universe didn't just create conditions for bare survival. It created conditions for conscious beings to experience wonder, to appreciate beauty, to form relationships, and to seek truth. Dr. Francis Collins, the geneticist who led the Human Genome Project, describes his response to the fine-tuning evidence as a recognition that science points toward something beyond the physical universe, what he calls the mind of God. But this isn't just abstract theology. It's a practical recognition that your existence has cosmic significance. And here's where your choice becomes crucial. If you exist in a designed universe created by an intelligence that values consciousness and purpose, then how you live your life matters on a scale beyond your imagination. Your choices don't just affect your personal happiness. They represent the universe's experiment with consciousness, free will, and moral responsibility. Dr. William Lane Craig argues that recognizing design in the universe leads logically to recognizing moral responsibility. If consciousness is the intended product of cosmic evolution, then conscious beings bear responsibility for how they use their remarkable capacities for understanding, creativity, and love. But you also have the choice to reject this interpretation. You can maintain that all the evidence we've explored represents an inconceivable series of coincidences. You can believe that your consciousness, your sense of purpose, your appreciation of beauty, and your capacity for love are nothing more than accidental byproducts of blind physical processes. Dr. Richard Dawkins, an evolutionary biologist at Oxford University, maintains this position despite acknowledging the appearance of design in biological systems. He argues that natural selection can create the appearance of design without requiring a designer, and that consciousness is simply an emergent property of complex information processing. But here's what's remarkable. Even if you choose to interpret the evidence as coincidence rather than design, you still face the same fundamental choice about how to live your life. Whether your consciousness arose by chance or by design, you still possess the remarkable capacities for understanding, creativity, and love that make your existence cosmically significant. What if I told you that the choice between design and coincidence might be less important than the choice of how to respond to your consciousness? Whether you see yourself as the product of purposeful creation or incredible accident, you still face the question of what to do with the remarkable gift of awareness. You can choose to live as though your existence is meaningless, as though your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are just chemical reactions in a purposeless universe. Or you can choose to live as though your consciousness represents something precious and significant, whether that significance comes from divine intention or cosmic accident. Dr. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, argued that the search for meaning is the primary human drive, regardless of whether that meaning is inherent in the universe or created by human consciousness. Your choice to pursue understanding, to create beauty, to show love, and to seek truth gives meaning to your existence, whether or not the universe was designed for that purpose. And here's the profound truth. Your choice affects not just your own experience, but the ongoing evolution of consciousness in the universe. If intelligence is destined to spread throughout the cosmos, then how you develop and use your consciousness contributes to this cosmic awakening. But the most important choice you face isn't just intellectual, it's existential. Will you live as though your life has cosmic significance? Or will you live as though you're just a temporary accident in an indifferent universe? This choice will determine everything about how you experience your existence. And what we're about to explore will show you why this choice is the most important decision you'll ever make. Here's what will blow your mind one final time. Right now, in this very moment, you are participating in the most significant event in the history of the universe, the awakening of matter to consciousness, the transformation of cosmic potential into actual experience, the universe coming to understand itself through your awareness. What if I told you that this moment, you watching this video, contemplating these ideas, experiencing wonder and understanding, represents the culmination of 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution? Every star that ever burned, every planet that ever formed, every evolutionary step that ever occurred has led to this precise moment of consciousness experiencing reality. Think about the incredible journey that brought you here. Hydrogen atoms formed in the first minutes after the Big Bang, forged into heavier elements in the hearts of ancient stars, scattered by supernova across the cosmos, incorporated into a disk of matter that became our solar system, assembled into a planet with exactly the right conditions for life, organized into increasingly complex biological systems over billions of years, until finally achieving the capacity for self-awareness, curiosity, and wonder that you possess right now. You are not just observing this cosmic story, you are its current culmination. Through your consciousness, the universe has developed the ability to contemplate its own existence, to discover its own laws, to appreciate its own beauty, and to ponder its own purpose. Dr. Carl Sagan captured this beautifully. The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself. But now you understand this isn't just poetic language, it's literal truth. You are quite literally the universe becoming conscious of itself. And this realization comes with both incredible privilege and profound responsibility. You have been given the capacity to experience beauty, to understand truth, to create meaning, and to love. These aren't just nice psychological experiences. They represent the universe actualizing its potential through your consciousness. But your moment in this cosmic story is brief. The atoms that make up your body will eventually be recycled into other forms. Your individual consciousness, as far as we know, exists only for the span of your lifetime. But the impact of your consciousness extends far beyond your physical existence. Every act of understanding you achieve, every moment of beauty you appreciate, every experience of love you share, every creation you contribute, all of this becomes part of the ongoing story of consciousness in the universe. You are not just experiencing the cosmic awakening, you are helping to create it. Dr. Freeman Dyson suggested that if intelligence survives long enough, it might eventually spread throughout the universe, transforming dead matter into conscious experience on a cosmic scale. If this vision is correct, then your consciousness represents the beginning of the universe's transformation from unconscious matter to cosmic intelligence. What if I told you that your capacity for wonder, the same wonder you might be feeling right now, is one of the universe's greatest achievements? Through your sense of awe, the cosmos experiences amazement at its own existence. Through your curiosity, the universe drives itself toward greater understanding. Through your appreciation of beauty, the universe finds meaning in its own patterns and structures. And here's the most profound truth. Regardless of whether you believe the universe is designed or accidental, your consciousness gives you the power to create meaning, purpose, and significance. You can choose to live in a way that honors the remarkable gift of awareness you've been given. You can choose to cultivate understanding, knowing that every insight you gain represents the universe coming to know itself better. You can choose to create beauty, knowing that every artistic expression you contribute adds to the universe's appreciation of its own aesthetic potential. You can choose to love, knowing that every connection you make with another conscious being represents the universe overcoming its fundamental isolation. Dr. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin envisioned a future where individual consciousnesses gradually unite into a collective cosmic consciousness, what he called the noosphere. Whether or not this vision proves accurate, you are part of the process by which consciousness expands and deepens its understanding of reality. But perhaps most importantly, you can choose to treat your consciousness as sacred, not necessarily in a religious sense, but in recognition of its cosmic significance. The awareness you possess right now, your ability to contemplate these ideas, your capacity for wonder and understanding, these represent the universe's most precious achievements. Every moment of consciousness is irreplaceable. Every insight you gain, every connection you make, every experience of beauty or truth or love, these are unique contributions to the ongoing story of cosmic awakening that will never be repeated in exactly the same way. And so we return to where we began, but with transformed understanding. You are living on a planet whose existence represents a series of mathematical impossibilities. You possess consciousness that shouldn't exist according to known physical laws. You are made of atoms forged in ancient stars, organized into patterns of complexity that exceed anything else we know in the universe. Whether this represents purposeful design by a transcendent intelligence or the most incredible accident in cosmic history, one truth remains. You are here, you are conscious, and you have the power to make choices that matter on a scale beyond your imagination. The universe has invested 13.8 billion years in creating the conditions for your existence. The question now is, what will you do with this remarkable gift? Your moment in eternity is now. Your consciousness is the universe knowing itself. Your choices are the cosmos deciding its own future. You are not just part of the story, you are helping to write it. And that, more than any mathematical probability or physical constant, is what makes your existence truly miraculous. The universe spent billions of years learning how to create you. Now it's your turn to decide what to do with the masterpiece you are.